What does business mean to you? To me, business is life, business is economy, business is country, business is power and influence. Global television means business. My name is Ubong Sora. I'm standing in for my colleague Kike Lomo, on the business desk this morning. This is Business Point, a program where we look at the business issues relating to Nigeria on a day-to-day basis. All right, so let's look at some of the top stories we are able to track for you this morning. First story says Dangote refuses to buy NNPC refinery, touts Dapman. All right, so Africa's richest person and the owner of Dangote refinery has refused to buy NNPC refinery, and he's saying that man, I'm not going that way. Another story that we're going to be looking at says governors and investors raise $500 million for solar manufacturing. That's coming from the minister at Delabo. And we're going to be seeing NIPOST unveiling payment solution for foreign parcels. And Nigerians lose over 316 billion naira to Ponzi scheme. That's coming from the Securities and Exchange Commission. And also REPS probe tax deduction, multiple charges by banks. A lot of, maybe I'll speak for myself, but when we get there, we'll talk about it. We'll take the last, some of this one is one of the stories we'll also be taking. Petrol prices at this time in some places in Nigeria is over 1,000 naira per litre. Absolutely. As Tinubu case, 15% import tariff. Welcome to the program. My name is Ubong Usoro. Let's start with the first story that we're taking today. He says the president of Dangote Group, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, has rejected suggestions that he could buy one of the moribund government refineries instead of expanding the capacity of this refinery from 650,000 barrels per day to 1.4 billion barrels per day. Dangote started this recently while announcing the expansion of the 20 billion facility in Lekki, Lagos State. Dangote said that his refinery, that Dangote refinery, would soon become the world's largest refinery in the next 3 years. So in 3 years' time, Dangote is saying that his refinery is going to be the world's largest refinery. However, there are questions about why he decided to expand the Lagos refinery instead of just buying one of the dormant ones under the management of the Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited. All right, so we are going to try to see how we can make sense of this discussion, as we have a political and also a business correspondent join us to help make sense of some of the discussions that we are going to be talking about. So Dangote was talking, and in that meeting you could see Dangote and you could see his friend and business associate Femi Otedola also there, as they talked about how to scale up price at his refinery. All right, so joining us now as we discuss some of these issues, let's get back to the studio now. Joining us now is Jonathan Essien. Jonathan Essien is a business and political correspondent, and he'll be joining us from Uyo to help make sense of the discussion that we have today. A very good morning to you, Mr. Jonathan.
Yes, good morning to you, Mr. Usoro.
All right, so the story says the president of Dangote Group, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, has rejected suggestions of buying one of the moribund Tajos refinery. I know we've talked about this on a lighter note one of those days, right? About the fact that NNPC has 4 refinery, and we've been hearing about turnaround maintenance. A lot of time they talk about it, and they put in a lot of money. And it seems as if nothing is coming up. But people are saying, Dangote, instead of expanding the facility, you already have 650 barrels per day produced by your refinery. You want to lift it to 1.2 million. Why not just buy the ones that have not been working and make them work? Does this argument make sense to you?
Well, first of all, if you look at the refineries in the country already being obsolete for a very long time, and we also had the government, over the years coming out to say that they want to probably try to fix those refineries, and at the end of the day, you'd find out that they don't even have anything to do concerning that. And Dangote, through his Dangote petroleum refinery, they express, their optimism, or so rather, they express their delight, coming out to say that they would love to, to do this, or they would love to do that. But if you're asking why can't they go in to get one of those petroleum refineries, to start working on, you also need to look at the type of, what they're also doing, and also the kind of the system they're using in working, and the style of operation and the rest. Probably they might want to start work all over again, to revamp the refinery and bring in new things, and I think that's going to be more expensive. So I think that's just the reason, why that's not happening. So,
all right, so Jonathan, let's talk about the fact that point is clear. We really do understand that. Let's talk about the fact that Femi Otedola, who sold his own company and said he's going into deregulation, it's been seen with Dangote almost every time. Of course, we know he has some stake in the Dangote refinery. And during this press conference, we saw Femi Otedola by Dangote's side, and he said very well that Dangote is not monopolizing Nigeria's economy. There's been talks about energy security, and you know how energy can become a matter of national interest, right? Energy security now in Nigeria. Is there a monopoly by Dangote in that in the energy sector in Nigeria? Are you seeing a monopoly? Femi Otedola says no, there's no monopoly. Is it because Dangote is Otedola's friend, and Otedola thinks it's okay because he's my friend?
Not exactly. We're talking about two business moguls, those who have been in the business for a long time. And I think when you are in a system, when you are somewhere, or when you're in an environment, you understand how the environment operates. And when it comes to trying to enforce your laws or enforcing whatever you want, I think it's people get to think or get to see that what you are doing is like a monopoly. But I don't think it seems to be a monopoly to me. I think they have been in the system for a very long time. They understand how the system works, and I think that's why most people feel that it is that way. But these are people who have invested so much in the country. They have done a whole lot, trying to work to ensure that whatever they are doing stays, on top. So for me, I don't think it's a kind of monopoly. They know the system, they know what they want, and that's why you always see them or see their name coming top when it comes to the national dailies.
All right, so I'm going to be taking this as the last thing as we talk about this particular story. Dangote touted the depot and petroleum products marketers of Nigeria and other wealthy individuals in the country. Now Dangote said instead of him to buy the refineries, that man, Nigerians that have money, he said he's not the only person that has money in Nigeria. Go and buy the refineries from the government and refurbish it instead of him to buy. Did you see that as a joke, or maybe he's trying to settle his scores with that man, because that man has had a lot of issues with Dangote, and Dangote is saying, come on guys, you guys pool resources together, buy the NNPC refineries and make it work.
Sorry, I was to say, if for Dangote going to buy the refineries, I think it's going to be more expensive, because he's going to do a lot of revamping, he's going to change a lot of things in the system, and I think he's looking at all those things, and looking at the digital age that we are working. If you have seen the Dangote refinery, it's not just operating manually. Most of the systems, most of the things that are there, technically, they are operating based on modern operations. So I think if he wants to look at, I think it would have been very easy for him to have walked into the government house and say, I want to pick up most of these refineries and start working on it. But I think it's also looking at some of the things that you need to do, try to make this system work, or make a particular thing work. So I think that is why he's not just interested in doing that. He's also looking at the cost of those things that he's going to do at the end of the day. So I think for me, I think Dangote is right in whatever he's doing.
All right, so before we move from that story, Dangote is saying buying those refineries? No. Once we touch them, you will hear a lot of noise. There are people with money in this country, many who have more cash than we do. Dangote, we know you are the richest person in Nigeria. Why are you trying to pull our legs and you say there are many persons in Nigeria that have more money more than you? All right, and Dangote is saying these people should come as a group they should go and buy some of those refineries. If they are not for sale, then they should actually go and put up their own refinery. So I think it's far better for other people to go and buy. So we will not be the only ones supporting Mr. President, supporting Mr. President's efforts in the petroleum sector with crude oil. At least there is now support from the president. The president is supporting those in the sector. So go ahead and buy the refinery. So if you have the money and you have the means, please get one of the refineries from NNPC. That is the advice that the richest black man in the world has given to Nigerians. Contribute money, go ahead and buy the refinery. All right, so let's take another story as we try to take some of the stories that we're taking for you this morning on Business Point. The next story that we have is a story. Just before I go to the next story, Jonathan, I'd like to hear your view on other Nigerians putting money together to buy refinery.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
I said I'd like to hear your view on the advice, Jonathan, where Dangote is saying other Nigerians should put money together and buy the refinery.
Okay. Well, I think it's also going to be a good one, but we're going to look at those who will, be interested in doing such, putting their funds together to get the refineries, just as they said. But you're also going to look at the maintenance of each of those things at the end of the day. Who is going to maintain it, and what will happen, or how is it going to be, carried out?
He said there are other Nigerians that have more money. He said there are other Nigerians that have more money. Can you hear me?
Yeah, they are there, but yes, I can hear you.
They have more money than Dangote.
The basic thing is, yes, but the basic thing is how the maintenance of the refinery at the end of the day. I think that is what I'm talking about, because it's not just getting the refineries, it's also trying to maintain the refineries at the end of the day. So I think for me that is something where we just need to look at. It's not just getting the refineries, it's also seeing how the refineries is going to be maintained, because we have most of the top in the town coming out to get these refineries, but what will happen at the end of the day?
Right.
How will it be maintained and the rest? So,
all right, so
that is always a big issue.
All right. So the next story we're taking this morning says governors, investors raise $500 million for solar manufacturing in Nigeria. The federal government, in partnership with state governors and private sectors, have secured nearly $500 million to establish solar manufacturing plants across Nigeria. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabo, recently said this. Adelabo said during the ongoing Nigerian Energy Conference in Lagos, he also announced that Nigeria has begun exporting locally manufactured solar panels to Ghana, marking a milestone in the country's renewable energy drive. All right. So according to the Minister of Power, Nigeria is exporting solar panels to Ghana. We do a lot of things to Ghana, right? We have a better jollof rice, but we are not going to that conversation. We are talking business now. So, and he's saying that very soon Nigeria will start, manufacturing solar panels all across Nigeria, because we've gotten investments worth over $500 million. These are investments done with state governors and private sector individuals. They also disclosed that this will add over 4 gigawatts of solar manufacturing capacity to the country. Almost 80% of Nigeria's current total power generation capacity can be powered by solar if we are able to locally produce the equipment needed, the materials needed for solar manufacturing in the country. But let me talk to you now. Solar and business. What is the place of energy in business, and do you feel good that Nigerians, investors and governors are able to raise over $500 million to put into specifically the investment in solar manufacturing in our country at this point in time?
Sorry, I didn't get you. I didn't get your last
I said,
statement.
Yeah. Do you think it's a good thing to be able to get this $500 million to put it into manufacturing of solar products in our country at this particular time?
Well, it's possible. I mean, there's nothing that is not possible. It's very much possible, for the government to do that. $500 million for the solar manufacturing. It's possible. And I mean, looking at what the government already, the president, already doing his plan for next year and the rest, I think that could be raised and that could be achieved. It's just for the government to look at areas in which they could raise those funds, and I think one of those areas is through the tax implementation that he has already instituted, and I think that could be achieved.
All right, so let's talk about local production of solar. You think solar it's the go-to power solution in Nigeria? Even after many years, we've not been able to use hydro effectively, even when we have Kanji. The problem they say is most times is that generation sometimes, but distribution becomes a problem. Do you think the power problem in Nigeria is affecting business?
Yeah, the power situation in the country be absolutely affecting businesses, and I think that is why we've seen surge in the prices of things and the rest.
All right, so the minister went ahead to explain that the deals would support local production of solar panels, batteries, and meters. This is something we also need to talk about, meters, because a lot of people are still using estimated billing in the 21st century. Wow, Nigeria. Okay, so this will reduce dependence on imports and position Nigeria as a key player in the regional energy market. So companies that will manufacture solar panel here will also manufacture batteries and will also manufacture meters. And the minister said that this is something that will be achieved very soon. That's coming from Adebayo Adelabu, the Minister for Power. And he said renewable energy is the way to go, and Nigeria is already exporting solar products to Ghana. I needed to say that Ghana again. Nigeria is already exporting solar products to Ghana. According to the minister, Nigeria is going to be serving as a regional power market in the continent. We have a lot of squabbles with Ghana a lot of times, but if we can become the hub of solar panel production in Africa, of course, we can give to countries like Ghana. I understand that we share electricity to countries like Niger and the rest of them. So Nigeria was meant to be the big brother of Africa. Is it still the giant of Africa? Those are questions that you may need to answer for yourself. But we're still talking about business now and how having good energy can actually empower Nigerian youths to be able to do a lot of things, especially now when we have remote work going on. You don't really need to get to an office to be able to work. You can work from the comfort of your zone. And if we have power, it will create an enabling environment for the private sector to actively participate in Nigeria and in moving Nigeria very forward. So the minister says that these $500 million raised from solar manufacturing will help the private sector to be able to be more involved in the business of moving Nigeria forward. And we just pray that this can be done in no time so that this will actually go on very well. So we'll take another story now. NIPOST unveils payment solution for foreign parcels. All right, so NIPOST unveils payment solution for foreign parcels. The federal government unveiled the Nigerian Postal Service automated payment solution for inbound international delivery items, and innovation expected to eliminate long queues, improve transparency, and simplify custom payments for millions of users across Nigeria. I'd like to get back to Aaron Lesu. He's there to just get his view on this payment solution for foreign parcels. Are you excited about it, Jonathan? That those who are doing stuff in Nigeria can pay directly to NIPOST without having to use a third party. But we know, I don't want to mention brand names now, but we know the third-party apps that people use to make these payments. And most of these apps, yes, some are not owned by Nigerians, but some are owned by Nigerians. What happens now that NIPOST itself has its own brand for these transfers, for those who are bringing in goods into the country? We know about the e-Naira and how it got on the internet and the next day it crashed. Do you think NIPOST can have a platform that will be solid? Because let me also mention that Nigeria has very solid platforms, like the JAM platform, like the NYSC platforms. Those platforms are very solid. Do you think NIPOST can bring out something like this?
Yes, absolutely, it can. It can bring up things like this, things that could really help to improve the structure and also whatever that they have.
Oh, I think we lost Jonathan there, but let's continue with what we're talking about at the moment. So the permanent secretary of the ministry, Rafiu Adelade, said the collaboration with NIPOST and private sector partners. All right, so NIPOST is partnering with Paystack, with Sendbox, and Messenger to be able to do this. So it's not just a NIPOST thing. So for those who are thinking, can NIPOST do this? Yes, Paystack has shown over the time that they have the required ability to be able to handle large volume of transaction worth billions of US dollars. Paystack have that, Sendbox have that. So NIPOST is partnering with them to be able to in-house have their own payment platform where you can do your payments without going through a third-party app. And I think that's good for business. And I think it's actually very good for business. So you don't need to pass through the hurdle of going through a third party and all of that, queues at the office, timelines. You can just, at the comfort of your home, be able to do this. So the minister for the minister Tajini acknowledged that the pay points will help Nigeria's business, will remove some of the barriers we have to trade. E-commerce will come well, and businesses that are struggling to compete globally will be able to compete very well because Nigeria now has a tangible solution to fast parcel, and I think this is very good from NIPOST, and it is a welcome development that you can actually do your payments in the NIPOST platform without using a third-party app. So kudos to NIPOST for coming up with this payment solution for foreign parcels. For those of you and those of us who receive foreign parcel, we are going to take one more story this morning as we try to round off, right? I remember that there was a time that NIPOST was the biggest brand in Nigeria, and people will ask the question, what actually happened to NIPOST? I don't know if you ask me, but kudos to NIPOST. Nigerians, right, lose 316 billion naira to Ponzi schemes. Nigerians lose 316 billion naira to Ponzi schemes. This is coming from the Security and Exchange Commission. It says Nigerians have lost over 316 billion naira to Ponzi schemes and illegal fraud managers over the years, warning that greed and ignorance are the sustaining factor to this Ponzi. So the head of FinTech and Innovation Department of the Commission, Abdulrashid Danabu, disclosed this during a training to journalists in Abuja, finance journalists, and he said that a lot of Nigerians have lost a lot of money to Ponzi scheme. And right, for myself, I know a couple of friends and families that have lost monies to Ponzi scheme. I know a couple of people, right? And you call them the names, you call them whatever names, they tell you give 10,000 in 1 week you will get 500 naira, and this you, and even people take business monies to put into all of this. And this is coming from Securities and Exchange Commission that monitors Ponzi scheme and monitors, they have data as to this. This is a lot of money that would have been put into our education, put into something to do, but people put it into Ponzi. So he said that monies that are gotten from this kind of operation have led new entrants, and these are not genuine business activities. So, and these schemes are actually not helping Nigerians at this point. All right. So, are you one of the Nigerians that have lost money to Ponzi? I want to tell you that these things crashes and the operators will disappear. And that's the much we can take this morning on Business Points. My name is Ubong Usoro. Like I say when I started the show, that global television means business. Business is life and we must do business. So go out there and do business. Bye for now.